Okay, let's see here. And we are going. All right. Hey, everybody. Coach Mark here. Wanted to share this, hop on live with you all. For you, for you lovely folks who follow me on YouTube but are not on Instagram. So I posted a program this morning. It's an 8-week program, the Ogre Accord. It's an 8-week back size and strength specialization program, and I just thought this was pretty wild because again, posted it this morning, and it's already got 24 saves. So, needless to say, it seems like people are very interested in this one. So I thought I would go ahead and crack it open here for you all on YouTube. That way, you can, grab it. Maybe if you want to run it for yourself, let's see if it's a viable option. The entire idea behind the program is it only programs for your lower body days. So this isn't built around your upper body days, but it will still cover both the max effort lower and developmental or dynamic effort lower. So let me just get it pulled up over here in Canva. There we go. All right. Now, give me 1 second to switch this over here. Okay, cool. So, the Ogre Accord. Let's go ahead and dive into this 8-week program, like I said. Move myself over this way a little. Now, this is very much an extemporaneous live, so bear with me, right, folks? All right, so, because if you think about the sport of strongman, a strong, stable low back is absolutely mandatory, whether it's big deadlifts, heavy carries, even an overhead press, right? Something that I've talked about in the past for myself is my lower back would often get pretty beat up from log pressing. But what I have found is by training with this past block very adjacent to the Ogre Accord, I'm not getting as much low back fatigue and my work capacity has really gone up. Plus, if you are doing stuff like loading events, you need a strong back just, from the traps all the way down to right above the glutes. The whole thing's got to be strong, it's got to be thick, it's got to be powerful. So again, as I mentioned before, this program is designed to fill the slots for 2 lower body sessions a week. There are 2 4-week blocks within it. The accessory movements themselves will not change between the blocks, but the main movements will. And then if you don't have access to an axle, which is what I did write this program based around, you're going to swap it out for a regular barbell and just pull from a deficit instead. So let's go into what that looks like. So in block 1, which is weeks 1 through 4, you're going to do a snatch grip axle deadlift or a snatch grip deficit deadlift to an 8RM, 6RM, 5RM, and then a 3RM. You'll drop 15 to 20% for 2 sets of 10, 2 sets of 8, 2 sets of 7, or 2 sets of 5. And that's the first 4 weeks. Then in block 2, you're going to switch over to either an axle deadlift from the floor or a deficit deadlift, where you're going to do a 5RM, a 4RM, a 2RM, and then a 1RM. Again, drop 15 to 20% for 2 sets of 7, 2 sets of 5, 2 sets of 4, or 2 sets of 3. And the big thing here is you're not necessarily going to set PRs every single week, but we are training to strain, right? You want to be at the RPE 8, RPE 9 kind of intensity. Really just putting yourself in a position to work very hard. And then on the back end of that, you want to make sure you're doing your back offsets because that's going to help build additional strength, muscularity, and work capacity. There we go. Now, as far as the accessories go, after you've hit your max effort deadlift for the day, you're going to do a lat pull down of your choice, or if you're good at them, do chin-ups, and you're going to do a 5 cluster rest pause. So rep out, rest 30 seconds, rep out, rest 30 seconds, rep out, rest 30 seconds, rep out, rest for 30, then rep out one more time. Aim for like 30 to 40 total reps across those 5 clusters for the rest pause. Just one go around of that. That's equivalent to 3 hard sets. Then after the lat pull down or vertical pull of your choice, we'll move into a farmer's walk. And you want to think a weight that you could probably do for 50 feet that would be an RPE 7. So you're moving quick. It doesn't feel too heavy. And the idea here is you want to accumulate 300 feet covered with that weight in 12 minutes. So for example, if you were to do something like, at the top of every other minute for 12 minutes, that's 6 total runs, so 6 rounds of 50 feet at the top of every minute would fulfill this requirement. Every week, just trying to go a little bit heavier, and then in week 4, you would skip it. And then the back extension, 8x8, 30 seconds rest. Then you're just going to drop 5 seconds rest every week. And then that way in week 4, you're doing 8 sets of 8 at 15 seconds rest. With the back extensions, don't try to go heavier every single week. Instead, all you want to do is increase the density, and then when you move into the second block, go heavier. And the approach here is think that it's a weight you could use for a 20 rep maximum or something that gets challenging by set 6 or 7, and then some ab wheel rollouts thereafter, and that covers your lower max effort. So, it's really only 5 total exercises, but it's pretty grueling in and of itself. You're going to build a lot of work capacity with this too, not just static strength, which especially if you look at the low back, right, the spinal erectors, they need a lot of volume. They're kind of a tough muscle to grow consistently with just load. So mixing in some density protocols will be a really good option. Plus the farmers are going to be great for your traps as well. The ab wheel will not only work your lats and low back in addition to your abs, but it's also going to help with overhead mobility, open up your shoulders a little bit, which can be a good thing, especially if you are doing a lot of pulling work. The lats are an internal rotator of the shoulder, so too much pulling, especially if you're not getting popular pinching of the shoulder blades, scapular retraction, it can cause a slightly hunched over posture, right? You see a lot of people when they do their pull downs are kind of like this, so just something to keep in mind. Now for your lower dynamic effort, what you're going to do is density blocks. So you'll set an 18-minute timer, and you're going to knock out 5s on the camber bar squat, and then chin-ups until you think you got about 3 in the tank per set. Or if you want to be more specific, think somewhere between 4 to 6 reps. You could even do these weighted. So the idea is you should be able to get at least 6 sets on the squats in this 18-minute density block, and every week they just get a little bit heavier. And if you don't have access to a camber bar, just do a high bar back squat, SSB squat, anything that's going to be similar enough. I just like this 2-block approach because the camber bar is one of those ones that for me really challenges my core, and I find it actually really cleans up my squat mechanics, and then when I go back to a more standard squat, everything moves better. So you're going to start too light here. We're going to start at 55%, because the idea here is get volume, get work capacity in, plus the squat and chin-up superset. That's really good for upper back and legs. And strong upper back, strong legs, that pairing is going to help build a more impressive and deadly deadlift. So go 55, 60, 65, 70%. Just base this off of a high bar or SSB back squat. If you are a low bar squatter, you'll probably want to go base these numbers off 90% of your low bar squat. Maybe 85, just kind of depends. And then in the second phase, weeks 1 through 4, block 2, you're just going to do high bar squats or SSB squats if you prefer, and you're just doing 4s. Again, a lot of work done very quickly. And then after you finish the squat and chin-up density set, you're going to move into sandbag or Atlas Stone 1 motions, 5 minutes, max reps. Aim for 30 total reps acquired, so you could see that as a 5x6 every minute on the minute. Roughly 60% of your best Atlas Stone or sandbag load. And if you do have a 1 motion, 1 rep max, you might scale off of that too. Just play with it, right? And if you can exceed 30 reps, go heavier next time. You will skip this in week 4. Then after that, a hamstring isolation of your choosing, just knocking it out with that rest pause method that I talked about. We're going to do back extensions and ab wheel again, because again, this is all about building a strong, darn near bulletproof lower and mid back. So doing this many back extensions, you're not going to do a lot of weight, obviously, but that amount of volume coupled with the heavy loading from the other movements and the density overall is going to help get you a lot more solid. Now, as far as the upper body side of things go, after you've done your pressing work for the day, maybe your delts and tricep isolation, you're going to move into some lat work. So for your upper max day, do a chest supported row of your choosing and just hit the rest pause method. Then after that, some face pulls, and you're going to just build to 50 total reps across 3 sets. So if you go 20, 15, 15, go heavier next time. And then after your dynamic effort or developmental pressing, 1 arm row of your choosing, just 2 hard sets of 8 to 12 each side, and then a 3-round circuit of 10 to 15 rear delt rows, 10 to 15 rear delt swings, and then 15 to 20 Kelso shrugs. So you want to do this face down on something about like a 30-degree incline bench, I think works really well. So with the rear delt rows, the elbows are coming out and you're really squeezing those rear delts. Then you're doing the rear delt swings, almost like a skier, right? So you're on the bench and you swing them out and behind like that. I like to rotate and lead with my pinky. And then in that face down prone position, 15 to 20 Kelso shrugs from that position. That is going to really light up your upper back. So that's what you would do for your back work after your upper body days respectively. So you can see how this does add up to a lot of back work throughout the week, quite a bit of volume, but also density, which I think is really good. Again, we're building a wide, reliable base with this program. We're trying to get, looking like a lost Hanma child, right? Get that Yujiro-style demon back. So anyways, folks, again, this one was a really slapdash extemporaneous style live, but I didn't do one last week. I wanted to make sure I got one up for you this week. If this program looks fun to you, let me know. I actually posted it up today, and one of my athletes saw it, and he was kind of like, okay, this looks really cool. So he's going to be running a customized iteration of this program just based off of his needs and whatnot, but we're taking inspiration from it. And like I said, I've been running something kind of adjacent to this. I think on the previous live I talked about it a bit more, but this is definitely one that I'm going to keep in my back pocket and probably run iterations of it for myself down the future. Maybe doing something like sled drags and swings rather than back extensions and ab wheels, just to help get more leg strength as well. But again, fun little template. If you're looking for something to run and you're a little lost with your programming, give it a shot, save it for later, or consider reaching out for me for one-to-one coaching, because the odds are very good. I'd love to work with you. But hey, thanks for watching this live, folks. Hope you're having a good one. I'll see you next time.